Just love trains. Hello, my name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, Megan Chown Vlogs, where I talk about fitness, travel and dogs. Today we're going to be talking about interrailing. So I have been interrailing twice before, once in 2017 with my friend Hannah and once in 2018 with my friend Joe. I vlogged the trip in 2018, so I'll link the two videos down below. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about what interrailing is, then I'm going to be talking about the different passes, how the interrailing itself works, how to plan a route, and then general tips that I have for interrailing. So to start off, what is interrailing? Interrailing is a pass that can be used on trains and ferries around Europe, and according to the Interrail website, you can have access to 40 railway and ferry companies in Europe. You can't use the Interrail pass in your own country, so I wouldn't be able to interrail around England, and if you live outside Europe, you wouldn't have an Interrail pass, you'd have an EU rail pass instead. So there are different Interrail passes that you can get. You can have a global pass where you go in different countries, and you can have a one country pass where you just interrail around one country. With the global pass, you also have an outbound and an inbound day. So an outbound day is traveling from your country to your destination country, and then inbound is coming back home again. Within these either global or single country passes, you have different ticket options. So you have youth, adult, child and senior, and for all of these options you can have either first or second class. If you're thinking of going first class, I would advise checking the countries that you're going to if they have first class options, because not all countries do have first class areas of their trains. The different passes that you can have, you either have flexible, which is a certain amount of days in a certain amount of time, so for example 3 days travel within a month, or you have a continuous pass. For example, you can have 3 months continuous travel pass for months at a time, going up to 3 months. I've mentioned the days and the travel days, so what this means is if you've got a pass that is 4 days travel within a 1 month period, that means you have 4 days where you can travel on, and it doesn't matter how many trains you take as long as it's in that 1 day time within a 1 month period. They don't have to be continuous days, but it needs to be 1 month from the first day that you travel. You can travel on as many different trains as you want throughout that day, as long as it's in that 1 24-hour time bracket. But one thing that you need to make sure you look into is if any reservations are needed for these seats. So these reservations are on top of the Interrail pass. Usually fast trains require reservations, night trains always require reservations, which I'll mention in a minute. And you can look on the Rail Planner app at timetables, which give information on if reservations are needed for specific trains. It's usually that the slower trains with more connections don't require reservations, but they do take longer, so you need to weigh up how long you're there for and what's the most appropriate for you. I mentioned night trains, so an option in Europe is to travel by train overnight. For this, you only use one travel day, and it's the travel day that you board the train on, so you can travel on as many trains as you want on the day of the night train that you take, and it will only class as one travel day. When you travel overnight, so you start in one place, end in the other place that you end in doesn't count as a second travel day as long as you don't then travel on from there and that's your final destination. But that is a way to only use one travel day on your Interrail pass, but you can travel overnight, so you're over 2 calendar days, and you also save on accommodation prices for the night, but you do need to reserve a seat for the night trains. So how does the Interrail pass work? When I went interrailing, it was a physical pass, and you had a piece of paper, and before you went on each Interrail journey, you had to write down the origin station, the destination station, and I think it was like the code or the number of the train ride, and you had to do this before you got on the train each time, and you gave your Interrail planner to the inspector and they stamped it going along. Now they have an Interrail app, so you just download this from the App Store. It's called the Rail Planner app. So once you've downloaded this, you add your pass to it using the instructions on the website, and from there you can create trips where you can look at all the different journeys that you want to take, and before you travel on each train you need to add the journey that you're going to take to the pass on your phone so that the inspector can check it once you get on the train. The pass that you have needs to be activated before you can travel, and you need to put those journeys onto your pass before you board the train. You can activate the pass up to 11 months after purchasing the ticket as well. Once you've downloaded your pass onto your phone, you can't change device, but they do advise that you can contact customer services if something happens with your phone or your device and you're unable to use it. When using the mobile app, you need to make sure that you have internet connection at least once every 3 days, because they check your account to make sure that there's no fraud or anything going wrong there. But once your journeys are uploaded onto your trip, then you shouldn't need internet access to access them. On the website, it does say that you're able to have a paper copy of the planner if you prefer that to the app, and you need to contact customer services for that. So ways to plan interrailing adventures. So one option is to go onto the Interrail planner website, and on this you can put in your destinations, where you want to travel, how long you've got, and the Interrail website will work out an itinerary for you. I also like to look at the Interrail map PDF that's available on the Interrail website, and this shows all train connections throughout Europe, so you can use it to plan adventures and look at places that you might not have considered before. Personal tips that I found when interrailing. The first one is to travel light. I am awful at travelling light. Definitely take a backpack and not a suitcase, because trying to get a suitcase on and off trains is just a bit of a nightmare, whereas backpack, put it on, you've got both your hands free. I had a broken wrist the first time I went interrailing, so this hand was useless. Could not do anything, but I would, yes, definitely advise trying to pack as light as possible. There are laundrettes available, you can wash your clothes, and it just makes it a lot easier if you're having to walk quite a way from the train station to your accommodation. The second thing that I would advise is, if you're on a tighter budget, try going a bit further east. So Eastern Europe and the Balkan countries are a lot cheaper than Western Europe. When you're looking at the individual countries, have a look at the currency to see if you need a different currency, the language they speak, if you need a translator on your phone. But I would definitely advise, if budget is quite a priority for you, heading east rather than west. When you're planning what to do in each area or each city that you're in, what we used to do is get a list just off the internet or travel guides that we've been looking at. We'd make a list of things that we want to do in that area, and usually the place that you're staying or the travel agents will have a copy of a city map, and we used to circle on the different areas that we wanted to visit in the city, and we used to then section it off, so we'd have one day in one section, one day in another section, and it just meant that we weren't sort of aimlessly walking between areas, and it optimized our time in each city. If you have no idea what you want to do in the city, I would highly recommend going on a free walking tour. So these are easy to find online. It works on a tip basis, so you tip based on how much you think the walking tour was worth, but it's a really good way to cover a lot of space in a short period of time when you're visiting a new area. I'd also advise to optimize the days that you have on your pass. So when I went interrailing the second time in 2018, Joe and I were in Luxembourg, and we had 3 nights staying in Luxembourg and realised that we'd covered all of Luxembourg in a shorter time than what we were planning on. We had a spare day on our Interrail pass, so we went to Brussels for the day. It was fantastic, beautiful weather, we were so lucky, but we woke up at 6, got a really early train, was in Brussels all day, did a free walking tour, and then came back in the evening, and it was just a really good way to use one of our days that we hadn't already used up on our Interrail pass. This next tip goes for any type of travelling. Take padlocks. So little padlocks for the zips on your bags, bigger padlocks for lockers in hostel rooms, just makes your stuff safer. And also my final tip, if you're going on a train journey, especially if it's a bit of a longer journey, take snacks. So the first journey that Hannah and I went on, we had flasks, so we had cups of tea, and we just had like this bag of biscuits, and then there was this French family opposite us who, I kid you not, had a cheese board, and they had wine, and we were like, we need to up our game. So from there, we then definitely upped our snack game. So I'd advise taking snacks, taking water, just in case you can't get hold of it, and taking portable chargers so that you can charge up any devices that you're wanting to use on the train. So thank you very much for joining me for this video about interrailing. I hope it's inspired you to go interrailing. I have some more interrailing planned, which I'm very excited about, and I just love trains. So yeah, would highly recommend. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.